Lola, you know how to do Google Hangouts?
No,
What?
I don't know, but look, it's only 2 keys.
JB. JB Nanny. JB Nanny. X4. The case study, yeah? Yeah. Did it send you an invite? What? Wait, maybe you have to hang up on the one that you're on. Okay.
Well, there we go. It says live now.
So that means it's recording, right?
Imagine. I got a little thing saying that it was recording, so.
Okay. Your screen is like slanted.
Is it? Yeah, I have it sitting on the keyboard because I have my earphones in. I can't put it straight down, so
Okay,
sorry.
that's fine.
Want me to? I'll sit sideways
that's
if
fine.
you want.
That's fine. That'll work. That'll work.
All right, so I have all the information pulled up here on the computer as far as what the group leader, what we're supposed to discuss, I guess.
Okay.
Under the, I guess they give us a full-blown agenda. So we've initiated the Google HOA. Include your team name. Let's see. Once everybody has joined the HOA, begin with a prayer, then start recording. Man. During your meeting, work with your group to complete the group leader sign-up document. Email the completed document to your instructor. Got it. Okay, so that is something clearly we need to do. And since we haven't heard, there's one person from our class that we haven't heard from, so it might just be the 3 of us if she's dropped out. So
Right.
we shall see. So I'll make a note for us to split up the weeks, see who's going to be the group leader. So maybe he'll give us both credit for this week for being a group leader, since it didn't happen with the with Chris. Let's see. All right, so we need to email the instructor.
I don't like. You eat. So we're on lesson 3,
Okay.
right?
Yep, you got it.
And what was the case? What was the case name?
This case was about the. Oh shoot! Sorry, I have 5 classes this semester, so.
Wow, that's very impressive.
It's, don't be impressed. It's silly. I never should have done that, but I'm so fed up with school that I was like, that's all my classes left. I just wanted to be graduated, so I'm like, this is going to be a terrible 12 weeks, but I'm just done. So
This is your last semester?
my last semester, if I pass all these classes,
You
yeah.
will. You will. You have to. You have to.
Yeah. So this one's going to be the Mary Griffin, the Derby Foods.
Okay.
So remember that case study,
Yeah.
or we can review it if you need.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Let's see. All right, let me go back and pull up week 3. Case study activity. Okay, so in order for what it wants us to do in order to prepare for the case study is to ponder responses to the following questions. What is really going on in the case? What is interesting about it? How would you start the discussion? What conclusions can we reach? And what would you do to alter adverse results if there are any?
So you're looking at the agenda, agenda instructions?
Not yet. So that's just for all the students, anybody that's going to be participating, and then there's agenda for whomever is going to be. And so the agenda is begin the record prayer, which we are supposed to do before we start recording, and a quick synopsis of the case. So I'll be happy to do that if you would like. So essentially, from what I remember, and hopefully I don't get the names wrong, we have Mary, who seems to be the leader, or at least the highest ranking person within the case study, is approached by somebody with this major issue. And the issue has to do with Simon, who used to be, he was an assistant brand manager, recently promoted to brand manager, and has been acting less than nice, I guess is the best way for me to describe his actions. It sounds like, in a number of cases, he's not treating his employees the way that they ought to or deserve to be treated. When they're trying to do the co-branding of the X Games with the new snack food that they came up with, he wasn't happy with the packaging, and he went down and just blew up at all of the employees and had some pretty, what I would say is less effective behavior. Mm-hmm. And so Mary's being approached by somebody for assistance to help rectify the situation, because he doesn't think that Simon should be acting like that, especially when he's so new in his position. And now it's basically up to Mary to kind of figure out what really happened, why it happened, and come to some sort of determination as to how we're going to fix it. That's the gist of what I got out of it. Anything I missed?
No, that's pretty much it. But I don't really think that, he kind of blew up downstairs to the production team. I think that he was kind of passionate about it and kind of went down there kind of demandingly asking for clarification, only because he's a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. But yeah, exactly what you said is kind of what happened. And then so her dilemma, I believe, is that she's faced with like a superstar, because I think that he's amazing in him rising in the ranks and his ability to help catapult the company into to having it be more modern and more effective, and even in his promotions. But I think what his problem is that he has problem with communicating, because maybe he is he's so driven by his own goals and driven by his need to be a perfectionist, that he's just needing to be coached a little bit about the way he has communication between his own particular
Right.
staff and other departments.
Got it. So would you say that basically what it's saying is that his behavior's been inconsistent with the culture of the company in the past?
Exactly.
And so people are probably like, hey, what is going on here? Like, we're not really used to that. And it takes all types. I understand there's some people who get really fired up and they lose their ability to have really effective communications. And I agree with you. I think that it sounds like he was young and upcoming. He's dominated in every aspect of his career thus far and was obviously the right choice for them. But I don't know whether it's because he's a hothead, because he's young and just not really mature, or has no experience in a leadership position, that he's just uncertain how to handle his new position and the appropriate ways to travel in order to actually have effective communication. And if he's that effective now, if he could learn how to be more effective as a communicator, he would be that much more effective.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
So let's see. It's what are the specific behaviors that raise concerns? He publicly reprimanded his friend for making a mistake on the little presentation, and totally threw him under the bus. Said some, just completely made him look and feel stupid in front of people, which is always a terrible idea.
Yeah, which I got that person wasn't a friend. I got it that it was a subordinate of his, and that he did that, to kind of show that they didn't do it correctly. And then it even made like the director, it made Mary Griffin, Mary's her name?
Yeah.
Mary Griffin even uncomfortable, because she noted it in the case study. She had noted that in her mind, and when she got the complaint from that other production manager, then she kind of recalled that event that happened in the boardroom meeting.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think anytime you're in a leadership position, even though you don't have to hang out with them, off duty or outside of the work, they all should be your friends and deserve the mutual respect, whether or not they're a direct report or subordinate or anything. Absolutely. Anytime that you are working in a team, if you have the ability to build your team up, do it, especially in front of other people. If the opportunity comes to tear them down, I don't think you should ever do that in front of other people. I think that there's a proper way to take corrective measures without embarrassing them in front of other people. And not to mention, he's sitting there presenting in front of numerous other brand managers who are over other cases, but that makes your team look weak.
Yeah.
When you're that way. And so as a leader, you should be taking the fall. Hey, you're like top dog. And if the stuff isn't right, then clearly either you were not explicitly clear in your expectations, or you didn't review stuff before you went to present it. And that's your bad. So people made mistakes, and I just think the way that he handled it and beating this guy down in front of numerous employees is definitely going to create some animosity between the two of them. It's not going to make a cohesive unit where they could be as effective as they could be, so.
Yeah, that's true. Very well said.
Let's see. What are corporate politics, and how can it affect the culture? What do you think?
Which sentence you on?
It says, what are corporate politics?
Okay, so you jumped down. Okay.
Sorry, I skipped. Yeah, I think we kind of talked about.
What are corporate politics and how it can affect culture?
I mean, I guess a lot of these questions are the same. So, what do you believe the culture of Derby Foods is? I mean, I think we talked about it, because we know that his behavior was not normal for their company culture. I think it gives us a really good idea of how things have been ran in the past. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with adapting or bringing in a new person who maybe sees, views, or has a different culture, but he still has in my opinion, still has to be able to fit in with the culture that exists, gradually change it. But I think if you just roll in there and just shake everything up, things get a little crazy.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I think the culture for the company is like they were kind of stagnant for a while, and they're on the cusp of kind of revitalizing their business after
mhm,
so many years. But I think internally they have to it's obvious that everyone kind of respects each other's boundaries, respect professionalism, and he was viewed as an up and coming, and they were kind of giving him leeway when he was making changes, and he was kind of toying with his when he wasn't a brand manager yet. He was kind of toying with his brand manager, and they were noticing that he was doing those things, and it was kind of allowed because I think they were trying to think outside of the box, and
right.
then but then definitely I think the situation becomes a problem when you are, if you're if you are not being professional and don't know how to communicate to your team, which will cause
Right.
problems down the road, like you said. So I think it's a kind of laid back company as long as everybody's doing their own thing, and of
Right.
course with marketing and branding and all of that, there's a lot of creativity that's flying around, and there is no real set measures to put any kind of boundaries that you want to put on creativity, because then
Right.
you'll lock somebody in a box, and then you won't get the kind of ideas and specific results that you want. So they
Right.
kind of let you fly where you want to fly as long as you being respectful, I believe.
I think you'll definitely get a better product and better turnout if you allow people to do that. I mean, you hire people because a lot of people, I think, have the tendency to hire people like them. And I think a lot of times that's a huge mistake, because I don't need somebody who thinks like me. I need somebody who doesn't think like me.
Exactly. And then
And
be
that
able to
work.
respect them too, though. Like
Correct.
we all say that we want them to kind of fill in the holes that we are not able to do. But then when they think to the left, and we're not used to that, it's just hard not to be intimidated. You have to allow them to be what you want them to be.
It's hard not to try to correct them and bring them back towards your direction.
Right.
And
Exactly. Because we all kind of tend to think that our way is the best way.
yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a million other ways, and a lot of them are equally as good as yours. And the
Yeah.
only time, like something I've learned is, that's fine. I don't care if you get from point A to point B and the job's done just as good as me. That's great. I don't need to change my way of doing things because we're the same. But if you come up with a way that's better, then I will look at it and see if I need to change or adjust my ways. But until you provide something that's better than what I'm doing, my way works.
Right. Right.
So as far as the corporate politics, I think that exists anywhere. I think it doesn't really matter what company you work for, or even the fire department. I think there's politics that exist everywhere, and a lot of people have a view of leadership / politics as kind of being the same thing, especially within the corporate world.
Yeah.
Sometimes there can be a they versus us mentality. If you get into corporate or leadership positions, this guy's gone from one of the Joes essentially to an assistant from an assistant up to the guy. And sometimes the people he leaves behind feel like, oh, you forgot what it was like to be an assistant. Now you're a big guy up there, with your new promotion, you forget about us. And I think it can create some animosity. And that's why it's so important for him to make sure that he's treating his subordinates, his direct reports, and all those people with the utmost respect, so that they remember that he hasn't forgotten what it's like to be there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the politics, I don't know, it's a crazy thing. There will always be somebody in there with opinions about the politics of a company and why somebody got a promotion versus another person. It's just so many people with so many different opinions, and some are just really vocal about theirs.
Yeah. Or they're kind of, like, even if you accept a leadership role, that they pretend to be on board with supporting your new role, but they're, kind of giving you they're kind of resisting your authority and not respecting you. That happens a lot too.
Yeah, I'm definitely afraid of that. I'm pretty young in terms of leadership on the fire department, and so about 2.5 years ago, I promoted to engineer, which is more of like an informal leader, not. And I decided to take a promotional exam for captain, and typically you have to wait 9 years to be able to take that, unless you have a degree, which I have. This is my second degree. I have a degree in fire science. And because I have that degree, I was able to take the test at 7 years. And it's really hard for me because I think I'm going to get promoted here within the next year. And when and if that happens, it's going to be very hard for me to go in, and I'll be 10 years on the department, and I'll have firemen who have been on for 25 years that are working underneath me. And so to step into them is going to be, it's kind of awkward. It's kind of intimidating, and you have to find a way to really get them to buy into you, that you're worth following,
Right.
And I think that's essentially, now it becomes to handle this situation right, to help her maintain her position and the respect that she has for it. But in addition, she's got to help Simon, Mr. York, or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
respond to and handle this situation appropriately, so that he doesn't lose favor or the momentum that he has and the support he has with his subordinates. So, yeah. So how do you build? I mean, what it wants us to discuss is how build the culture, and what is Mary's role in helping to establish or build/rebuild that culture.
Okay, so before I respond to that, I went onto the discussion board because I was trying to finish this week's assignment quickly so I could move on to my 3 other classes, and so I responded to your post on there, what you kind of just mentioned, and I think it's phenomenal that you worked your way up, and your reservations is warranted, because you're working with people, and then men too. Sometimes they can be more worse than girls, but like for you, like
firemen are the worst. There's like men, then there's women, then there's firemen. They're worse.
Really? But you deserve it. Like, you can see what I wrote. Like, you deserve it.
Thank you.
But your reservations is valid. And then God's put you where He wants you to be, and you're going to be ready to make those decisions, whether you have the experience that the older captains have or not. You're going to be able. I think you've come this far, and if they're going to promote you to people above, you know what you're going to do. So you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you.
So as far as like the recommendations of just like you were saying, I'm very concerned because Mary has a very delicate situation to handle, because if she doesn't handle this properly, she can kill the fire that's under him, and the company entirely could lose a star player on their team. So really, I think what I had suggested for her to do is to kind of highlight a lot of the accomplishments that he's done, and to feed the passion that he has that has brought him this far, but to just quickly use some scenarios about communication, maybe kind of related to him, that how would he feel if so-and-so came in and spoke to him in a certain way that was from a different department, or spoke to one of his team members like that, and then get his feedback on that. And once you do that, then she can kind of point out that he did that, and to kind of like more of a delicately coaching opportunity for her, because it seems that his dynamics is is something that is very valuable to the company and something that she's enjoyed. But I know personally in the past, when I would start a new job, I'd be so zealous to do really well and want to excel. And then sometimes when I would have a coaching opportunity, people in Hawaii would not know how to speak or not know how to encourage me to do better. And I would think like, wow, I'm giving 100%, and it seems like they're not appreciating. So now I want to come to work and only give 80% like everybody else, and not have to deal with a manager that's intimidating, you know? So
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I think it's the responsibility of anyone in a leadership position to kind of inspire the people that work underneath them.
yeah.
And it seems like Mary, to me, it seems like she's pretty good. Now, we don't get a lot of background about her, and we also don't really get to see how this plays out. But I guess the way that I envision is that she's very understanding of him and his new role and the potential that he has there. So I think while there is a slight change in culture with him coming into that leadership position, I think she did a really good job in allowing for a brief moment of change or the potential for change within the culture by not just reprimanding him immediately, by saying like, hey man, we don't do that here, you know, and just having a really hard correction, which I don't really think was necessary. I think she definitely has to address the situation, but the way that I would do that would be very simple. It's not something that has to be like a sit down, hey man, like a coaching counseling session, like you will change. I don't think it has to be like that. I think it's just a matter of teaching him how to be more effective. And the way I envisioned what he did was when he sees this package, he gets all angry about it and he marches down there because he's passionate, because he's angry, whatever reason, and unloads on these people, I feel like is really inappropriate, especially when all of those people have a leader like his equivalent, just in a different department.
Yeah.
And so there's this idea of having a chain of command where if he has an issue, but the issue has to do with another, sorry, the tones are going off, but if the issue that he has to do with a different department, you go to that department head and you allow that department head to be the leader that they are and to handle the situation below.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened. Maybe that their company is not able to produce the type of, whatever that York wants. Maybe they're not capable of doing that. Maybe York was not explicit in his expectations and they go, hey man, this is what everybody thought you want. Let us make some changes. There might be a very simple solution to this, and blowing up like that is definitely not going to get us moving in the direction we need to. So it's a very open conversation like, hey, I saw the package. I'm not thrilled about it. Here's why I'm not thrilled about it. Is there any way we can change it? Why did it end up like this? I apologize if I wasn't explicitly clear, because I may not have been. Here are my expectations and here's what I want to see, and can you produce that? And I think the guy'd go like, oh yeah, absolutely. I see what you're saying. We'll make the corrections. I'll have it to you by tomorrow and deal.
Yeah.
So it's exactly. All effective communication is really going to be it. Let's see. Man, we covered a lot of those questions in that. Effective feedback. Well, shoot, we kind of talked about that. Recommendations for the discussion between Mary, right? So she calls and has him set up an appointment. And what the other thing, I don't know if you picked up on this or maybe I just made it up, but she calls to set up an appointment, and he finds out about the appointment, and his first thing is like, that's great. This will be a great opportunity for me to talk to her about some ideas or whatever. He's clueless. To me, he's clueless that his behavior was inappropriate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that gives Mary an opportunity to set forth her expectations. So, he can't get in trouble for not obeying laws or rules that he didn't know existed. So you set those up. You go, hey man, I wasn't thrilled about the way that got handled, but I love your passion and I don't want to put that flame out by any stretch of the imagination. So in the future, hey man, let's try to handle these things a little more along these lines. They don't have to be exactly my way, but there does have to be a mutual respect. And I would appreciate it if you would do X, Y, Z. Then those expectations are explicit. And in the future, if he continues to screw up and act like that, she's kind of setting herself up to protect herself and her position and her job, because she can document, hey, on this day we talked about this and here's what we covered and here's the expectations that I told you. And if he continues to not follow those, then if she has to take some sort of action to write him up or even get him fired, she's documented like, hey man, I gave you millions of chances and here's all the documented proof, and I'm sorry that things didn't work out, but you wouldn't listen. And ultimately, you're my direct report. and you're not doing what I need you to do. And so I think it all comes down to making sure that everybody is on the exact same page and that those expectations are clear. And then I think that I think it'll be a really easy conversation. I think he's clueless that he doesn't even realize what he did.
Yeah.
And it'll be a great teaching opportunity for her to help him reach his potential as a leader, because he's probably a good candidate in the future to take her position, you know? So she should be focusing on grooming and helping other people get ready to take on what she's been doing, because she's probably being groomed for a higher position. You know, it's kind of how it works.
Yeah, that's exactly what I got too, that he was clueless, and that that he would be going into the meeting thinking that he's going to be praised for some kind of thing that he's done, and he has no idea that it's an opportunity for her to coach him. So as long as she handles it, you know, respectfully, then I think they should be okay. And I thought that if she would just use scenarios for the boundaries that he's crossed, if she would just give him scenarios to kind of make him understand, you know, that what he did was kind of inappropriate, then she should be okay. And then also pump him up as well, because you want him to get back on the floor and perform. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything. And since it's just the two of us, I'm pretty sure we understand the key concepts, since we were the only ones in the discussion. So if you have any last comments, I'm good. It was a great discussion.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and email, do another email and let Chris know that maybe he could be the leader of next week's one, or you want to do it again?
It makes no difference to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just.
What we do need. So will you end up with the link of the recording?
Yes. So I'll copy the link and post it to the discussion board, right?
Okay. Yeah, it says remember to send a link to the recording to your group members. So how about can you post it to the discussion board and then send the link in an email to everybody?
Yeah,
and that way I know we're covered.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy Alaska.
Okay, you too.
All right. See ya.
Okay, bye.